Now, Kanye versus Nicki, 6ix9ine versus his girlfriend Story, Lil Baby disses Gunna, and Kodak Black said, what? Welcome back to another multiple topics in a video. If y'all want me to continue this, you gotta show me some love by liking this video, okay? I'm not the one to waste time, so let's just get into this, right? So the first topic we're going to talk about is Nicki Minaj versus Kanye West. So if you guys have not been paying attention to, the state of things in music right now, Nicki Minaj is one of the most talked about people in music right now because she recently dropped her album, Pink Friday 2. Very much anticipated project because, Nicki Minaj, she's a really, really popular artist. She's literally at the top of the food chain. And the last time she dropped a project was back in 2018 when she dropped Queen. So the release of Pink Friday 2 has literally been shaking things up in the industry, mainly because we're talking about Nicki. I mean, Nicki just has a lot of influence in the industry. Some of my quick thoughts on the album before we move on. I'll be honest with you, man. I'm not really too crazy about this album. And you know what? I'm going to give it a little more time, that's for sure. But I listened to it and I left this album liking a couple songs, and that's about it. I was honestly expecting a whole different energy from Nicki this time around. There were too many songs on here that didn't really hit for me personally. I feel like I didn't really get anything that just completely blew my mind, which that's a standard for any Nicki album. Usually when Nicki Minaj puts out an album, she leaves you wanting more. For this release, however, I feel like I got too much, and that's not a good sign for me when it comes to music. I'm gonna give it a little more time to actually digest, because personally I don't really believe in this whole thing where people supposedly are able to take in an entire body of work in like a week. Personally, I think that's complete BS. People just don't really take their time with albums nowadays. That's just how it is. Now, aside from some of my thoughts on Nicki's album, let's actually move on to this story right here. Kanye versus Nicki Minaj. So if you don't know what's going on, well, let me inform you. So yay, for anyone who doesn't know, you should know because Kanye is very loud right now. He's gearing up towards dropping his forthcoming album, Vultures. Now, Vultures would have actually been out at this very moment, but, and this is where Nicki comes into play, right? So there's this song that Nicki and Kanye worked on from back in 2018. It's called New Body. Now, this song has been out for a long time, i.e. it's been leaked, okay? It's on the internet right now. You can listen to it, but the official song actually never ended up being dropped by Kanye. So it was a record that Nicki was featured on with Kanye and $, aka if I'm featured on your record, well, it's my record now. So Ty $. Now this song ended up never dropping, so it was just sitting in Kanye's vault up until now when he wanted to put it on his album, Vultures. Now, something that you should know about this record right here is that Nicki actually wanted this record to come out a long time ago. And this is something a lot of people don't know, but Nicki, right, behind the scenes, she was actually trying to make this record come out. And that's because a lot of her fans were saying, hey, Nicki, when is New Body with Kanye gonna come out? So she did some things on the back end, like she was communicating with Kanye about this record coming out. Now, despite her efforts, the song never ended up coming out, okay? And that's presumably because Kanye didn't want it to come out at that time. So this is all very important because now we're going to move on to what Kanye West said and then what Nicki said, and then we're going to go back to what Kanye said. So let's actually go over some of these things right now. So about 2 nights ago, the man Ye himself, he hopped on Twitter and he posted a screenshot. Now the screenshot was a message that he sent to Nicki Minaj's phone, and it appeared as a green text, so that's obviously not good. If it's green, then it ain't a good sign, right? But anyway, so he said, hi, it's Ye. May I call you about clearing New Body on the new album? And on his tweet, Ye tagged Nicki Minaj. So what ended up happening after this is tens of thousands of people decided to go to Nicki's social medias. Nicki, clear New Body. Kanye's trying to communicate with you. Answer his text. Clear New Body, clear New Body, clear New Body. So people were essentially hounding Nicki to clear her verse because, that's what has to happen if an artist is collabing with another artist. They have to clear the verse. Like, hey, we can drop it. There's also some legal stuff that comes into play, especially if you're on a major label, right? Now, Nicki ended up responding to Kanye, and she did so by saying that train has left the station. No disrespect in any way. I just put out a new album. Why would I put out a song that has been out for 3 years?
Now, regarding Kanye, that train has left the station. Okay. No disrespect in any way. I just put out a brand new album. Well, why would I put out a song that has been out for 3 years? Come on, guys.
In other words, Nicki said, no, No. She didn't want to clear the verse and she had her reasons. Now Kanye decided to say some things about Nicki responding to him. What he specifically said was, I made that girl rewrite her verse 3 times for Monster. I supported her career, so I don't know what it is.
Husband, I met him, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I made that girl rewrite her verse 3 times for Monster. I supported her career. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't know what it is that people got in their head. You know what I'm saying? But we gonna get this, Or we just ain't gonna put what the fuck? I know you want for.
So Kanye, like we can conclude, was obviously dumbfounded, because in his mind, he thought that Nicki would just jump on this immediately, like, oh, let me clear it for you because you're dropping your album, boom. The fact that she wanted to drop this song earlier, and the fact that Kanye didn't want to drop it earlier, I think from Nicki's perspective, she's probably looking at it as, if you didn't really want to move in my time, why should I move in your time now? Just like how Kanye West moves in his own time and he doesn't take orders from nobody, Nicki Minaj is the same exact way. That's how she's been operating for her entire time in the industry. So Kanye obviously forgot that he's dealing with the female version of himself. Because if I had to pick like a woman in the industry who kind of resembles Kanye like in a spirit or personality form, Nicki Minaj is really definitely that person for sure. I'm just a little surprised by the fact that Kanye is, expecting Nicki Minaj to jump fences to clear her verse. Because first of all, she just dropped an album. So what do you think she's focused on? She's focused on her own shit. Just like how Kanye is focused on Vultures and what he got going on. Well, same thing for Nicki. She's not focused on what Kanye's doing. She's focused on what she got going on. And she just dropped an album for the first time in 5 years. And just like she said, and this makes a lot of sense, if she clears this verse, yeah, that is a feature on an album that's probably gonna be very popular because it's Kanye. The industry is competition, so technically she's going to be competing with herself. Artists who are as big as Nicki this time around do not, and I repeat, they do not make any moves that'll take anything away from their own project. So for Nicki Minaj, this is obviously a business decision, 100%. That's really what it is. And I can't really blame Nicki Minaj for making a decision where she's just looking out for her business, because that's what Kanye is doing. Kanye's agenda is, I'm trying to drop this album right now and I want Nicki to clear this verse. Well, let's keep in mind that this is a 5-year-old record. What makes you think that she's automatically gonna want to clear a verse from 5 years ago because you're asking? Especially since she just dropped her album. That's what she's focused on right now. And also too, if Kanye really wanted Nicki's New Body verse to be cleared, don't you think that he would have done all this on time? The reason why he's doing this now is because he's trying to do this as a part of the rollout. So I don't really think Kanye cares too much about Nicki's verse as he does about creating hype for his album. That's really what I think is going on here. And obviously Nicki Minaj ain't stupid. She knows exactly what's going on. Hence to why she didn't want to clear the verse. And also too, Kanye did address Nicki as that girl. Obviously we're talking about Kanye West, and hey, he does address a lot of people in very strange ways. So after this, I'm not sure if Nicki's ever gonna want to clear this verse right here. Although we're talking about Kanye, so he could literally just drop it without her permission. And yes, he would have to deal with some things legally on a back end if he chooses to do that. But then again, I'm not really too confident about the fact that Nicki would pursue litigation. Maybe she doesn't really care too much about whether the official version of the song actually drops or not. Moving on to the next topic, which is 6ix9ine, okay? Niggas iffy, Blicky got the sticky, actually got beat up by his girlfriend. Yes, that actually happened. And even though I don't like 6ix9ine, this is not one of those videos where I'll be saying anything bad about 6ix9ine, because this is a pretty serious topic. So if you guys don't know what's going on, right? The other day, there was this clip that surfaced on the internet where 6ix9ine was seen getting beat up by his, I believe, ex-girlfriend now, or it should be his ex-girlfriend by this point. Now this clip surfaced after 6ix9ine himself posted a video of his girlfriend just acting belligerent. She was literally kicking his car, and then she had like this object, I don't know what it was, but she literally hit his arm like really hard, like boom, hit his arm as he was holding his phone. Just on some very violent vibes. Or whatever you want to call it. Just, she was violent. And then there's this other clip that he posted where she's literally like hitting him, and then he's trying to stop her and he's trying to push her away, and she literally like, he has like the ski mask on his face, right? And then she like drags the ski mask down and like she pushes him, and then there's another clip where they're in the garage, and then she has like another object, and then she literally hits him or tries to hit him because he stops her, but she tries to hit him in the face with it, and 6ix9ine just like uses his arms to like shield himself from the object that she's trying to hit him with. So this story has been going pretty viral. A lot of people are talking about it, and you know what, man, this is actually not funny at all. Like, this is kind of entertaining for a lot of people, but honestly, this is not entertainment. This is just sad to me. Toxic relationships are a very real thing, and there's a lot of people in this world, okay, maybe even you right now, who find themselves in situations where they end up with a person who is either abusive physically or abusive mentally. And a lot of times people stick around because they think that that's what they deserve. And that's obviously a bold-faced lie, because the one thing you do deserve is someone who respects you enough to not put their hands on you. And that is a fact. Now, if you do think that this is something that you deserve, i.e. getting beat on, that's because you have certain beliefs about your self-worth as a human being, and those thoughts about your self-worth, which are very destructive, they keep you in a state of thinking that you did something to deserve this kind of treatment. So some people might feel like, oh, I did something to trigger them, which had them angry, and that's why they beat on me. If it's not that, then it could be a damaged sense of self-worth. That's another big one. Sometimes people can not only make you feel like you deserved something as cruel as getting beat on, but they can also, in the process of that, make you lose sight of the person that you were before you got together with this person. Another one is fear, and this is a really big one. Just like how, for example, let's say the cops pull up on your black ass at 2 a.m. I mean, you're gonna have a little bit of fear. Come on now. Especially if there are no witnesses who can testify to what happened if something happens. Fear is definitely one of those things that keeps someone trapped in a relationship where they're getting abused 100%. That's a really big one. And usually, unlike this story right here, it's women who are more prone to be victims of abuse because, you know, men are stronger. So it is what it is, right? That being said, obviously this is universal. I mean, this 6ix9ine story should be the prime example of that. Men can also be the victims of abuse. If not physically, then it can be mentally, or it can of course be emotionally as well. The cure to all this, by the way, is just being strong enough to walk away from someone who puts you through any of that. The issue with us human beings is we have a tendency to put a highlight on the positives of a person's character rather than the negatives. So even if, let's say, things are really bad with a person that you're with, you're always going to cling on to those good moments that you had with them. I mean, even if they're literally like abusing you. And you see this with a lot of women, because you always hear stories and see this in society where a woman is with a man who's literally beating on her consistently, and then her family is like, why are you with this man? And most times she doesn't even know how to put it into words. Like, she cannot even explain why she's with this man who's abusing her. And this is also kind of like, as a side note, this is why I never look at anyone's relationship and I'm like, oh wow, they have it so good. The truth is, you never really know what's going on behind the scenes between two people. That is a fact. People can keep up appearances and make things look very good on the outside, but as soon as you get to the truth, things are actually hell on the inside. You know what they say, right? Believe nothing you hear and only one half that you see. This is, you know, one of the reasons why celebrity relationships and like celebrity couples and all that, why that stuff has never really made sense to me. Like, there's literally people out there who base their entire relationship on what celebrity couples are doing. I mean, that's just insane to me, honestly. I mean, quote unquote regular human beings, you get what I'm saying? But like regular human beings out here in quote unquote regular relationships, which is all of humanity, right? People keep up appearances when they don't have anything to gain. But imagine a celebrity couple where literally millions of dollars is at stake. You think that's real? Absolutely not. It's faker than some plastic titties. I have nothing against plastic titties, by the way, but you get what I'm saying. But kind of going back to, you know, this 6ix9ine story, this is a very serious topic, honestly. And I know that in society, there's this, you know, notion, I guess, that men can't be in emotionally or even physically abusive relationships. What people don't realize is that just because a man is stronger than a woman physically, that doesn't mean that every single man out here is even mildly comfortable putting his hands on a woman, even if she hits him. Because a lot of men know that, you know, even if she hits me first and I respond to her hitting me, I mean, guess who's going to jail tonight? You, nigga. And you know what? You should actually go to jail, because what you could have done is you could have literally just walked away. And that's the solution to this. All my guys out there, man, you ever find yourself in a situation like this, you just walk away. You don't respond, you don't scream, you don't raise your voice, you don't really do anything but just walk away. Like I'm saying, you literally just walk away. So like that apartment door, you open that door and then you walk away and then you never speak to this person again. that's how you solve this. Is it easier said than done? Well, yeah, what in this life is not easier said than done? If you unfortunately end up with a person who feels comfortable enough to put their hands on you, the only thing you can do is just walk away. That's the solution, because any other response is just going to amplify the problem that you have at your hands at that moment. And also too, and this is a big one, but you can't fix another human being who sees abuse as a potential response to conflict in a relationship. It just doesn't work. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people in this world who are wired that way. If it's not physical abuse, then they'll say something to try to trigger you and make you feel bad about yourself, so you lose that sense of who you are. And they're doing this because they want you to feel bad about yourself so you don't have that strength to walk away. There's a lot of people like this in this world, and you just got to be smart enough to spot them, and you got to be smart enough to kick them out of your life. With that topic being out of the way, and by the way, I just want to say 6ix9ine, I hope he smartens up and actually leaves this woman, because it doesn't look like he's left her. But I hope he smartens up, and I hope he makes a better decision at picking women next time around. With that being out of the way, let's move on to the next topic, which is Lil Baby disses Gunna. So if you guys don't know, right, Lil Baby the other day, he dropped a little 2-pack, 2 records. By the way, they're kind of boring, but anyway, by the way, Lil Baby has just like lost it. He's just not as passionate about making music. Clearly, I don't know what's going on with Lil Baby, but he just does not sound as good as he used to sound. But he dropped this little 2-pack the other day, and on one of the records called 350, he actually ended up dissing Gunna, and he had a very like specific line, and this is what he said. So first he says, "I know one day it's gonna hit me, bro ain't never coming back. I ain't never say nothing about it, nigga. You know you a rat." So obviously a shot at Gunna, who's honestly doing really good right now. But you guys know the drill. Gunna ended up taking a plea deal, and you know, everybody and their mama had something to say about it. The funniest thing about this was like seeing fans get overly emotional about the fact that Gunna took a plea deal. Like, what does that have to do with you? But then again, we also seen like a lot of rappers coming out saying, "Oh, Gunna, he a rat. We gotta blackball this guy from the industry because he took a plea deal and he's a rat, and you know, there's no place for rats in hip-hop, da-da-da." Well, first of all, there's no place for abusers and rapists in hip-hop, but a lot of these guys have careers and they're making millions. Let's not even talk about Diddy right now, but if you think that there aren't guys like Diddy specifically in hip-hop right now who are doing their dirt in private and not getting caught, you would be crazy to think that. A lot of this stuff is happening, it's just that the dirt is getting done in the dark. So the street, I guess, mentality, or whatever you want to call, I don't know what to call it. Just to me, this is backwards. This entire thing has just been backwards since day one. It just does not make any sense. As a culture and as a genre, we really have other things we need to focus on. Like, there are some very spiritually dark things in hip hop right now that are going completely unaddressed. One of those things is, and I'm going to make a video on this soon, but it's that 9-year-old little rapper who's out here making, I'm sure he's making money at this point, who's out here talking about murder and pushing a bunch of dope into his community, and he's getting rewarded for this. Like, maybe we need to focus on that, Lil Baby. But then again, guys like Lil Baby, they make literally millions of dollars from portraying this, you know, street image. That's the reason why Lil Baby is where he's at. And the fact that we're still focused on Gunna, Lil Baby, like, that tells me where your mind is at. This Gunna thing is just so played out, and the fact that we're still talking about this, I'm literally mind blown. At some point, man, I think we just gotta let it go, and again, we gotta focus on these other things that are going on in the culture, because hip-hop as a genre, man, we really can't afford to focus on the things that don't really matter. We can't really focus on the things that don't really move the needle. And I'll say this, there's a lot of entities out here who are greatly benefiting from the dysfunction that hip-hop promotes. One of those things is this right here, okay? Grown-ass rappers, Lil Baby is like 28, 29, grown-ass men at this age still focus on this petty stuff. Because trust me when I say that Gunna snitching is a very petty conversation, guys. This is not something that we should even be discussing. But here I am literally covering another rapper, okay? Another rapper who's like 28, 29 years old, who still has this man on his mind who's doing really good, and he's literally sneak dissing him in his records. And it's like, it don't make sense. Like, at some point we have to grow up, right? So personally, I think this entire thing is played out, but you know, what do I know, right? What do I know? Now, moving on to the next topic. By the way, like this video if you've made it this far, okay? Drop a like, because I'm putting in a lot of work here. But moving on to the next topic, which is regarding Kodak Black. Now, Kodak the other day, he was doing this Instagram live, and he made a little confession, if you will. The clip has been going viral, but essentially Kodak admitted to doing meth. During that same live, he also denied doing cocaine, which is a little strange because, you know, he has a couple lines in his music where he talks about sniffing a couple lines of cocaina. But anyway, let me just play you this clip right here and then we'll continue talking about it.
I ain't gonna lie, that shit crazy. I know I done told y'all, I done told y'all I fucked with them. I done told y'all I did meth before. Bro, me later, bro. I ain't in that shit, bro. I ain't around no cocaine or they say cocaine crazy.
So that was Kodak Black speaking, this language called Yakanese, which is a language that only Kodak Black speaks, because whenever I hear Kodak talk, man, I don't know what he be saying, I'll be honest with you. But Kodak was telling us in this language called Yakanese that he has actually tried meth, which is crazy, right? But maybe not so crazy, because he actually does have this line on one of his records called Versatile 3, where Kodak Black says this. He says, I just hit a lick on Copins, they gonna hate you being yourself, they want the cards that you was dealt, got so much ice, they wish you melt. Gave me a demo of that meth. Gave me a sample of that meth. Yeah, I tried it and I liked it, Kodak Black says. On this live, you could also hear him talking about how, hey, I've never done cocaine. And the reason why he brought up the cocaina is because if you've been paying attention to the news, recently Kodak actually got arrested for cocaine possession in Florida. He got booked into custody a few days ago and then he ended up getting released. But what happened was he got charged with improperly stopping or parking his vehicle, cocaine possession, and tampering with evidence. And then he ended up getting bailed out of jail a night or two after. This news actually ended up going viral because a lot of people saw cocaine possession and said, what? Yak is on that cocaina? Now, what a lot of people did know is that Kodak has actually on literally another one of his records, right? Just like the meth lyrics, right? On one of his records titled Dirt McGurk, he's actually admitted to trying a little bit of cocaine. And this is what he says. I'ma go and change the speed. I'm on, damn it, phone call. So continuing, Kodak says, I'ma go and change the speed. I'm on cocaine and weed, smoking on dirt, McGurk, sipping on syrup with the perk. Now that's crazy. Kodak, I feel like, is one of the only rappers who can say off the wall things like this and we don't even notice. I mean, it literally took for Kodak to say verbally that he smoked meth for people to notice that he actually said it in his record. On a serious note though, Kodak Black to me honestly has never really looked all that present, meaning whenever I've seen him doing interviews or whether he's doing like an Instagram live, like in this case, I just noticed that over the years he's kind of progressively gotten worse. I mean, his physical health has kind of deteriorated. If you look at a lot of his older lives, he had like a little bit of that light in his eyes, and I don't know if this is due to other things as well, but over time just feels like he's been less and less present. And honestly, I feel like, hey, there has to be some drugs involved. I remember that one Instagram live that he did. I'll put it on the screen right now, but god damn, man, he just did not look good. Kodak was literally on the floor just saying a bunch of nonsense, and there's someone recording him, and then they put it on live for the whole world to see this, and his pain was literally televised. And honestly, I feel like that was a man in pain. That was not something that I could really laugh at. He was on the ground saying a bunch of stuff, just like mumbling, saying things that just aren't even there, almost like he was talking to himself, right? Which, hey, I be talking to myself from time to time, I can't even lie. But the state he was in, if you've seen this video, anyone with a set of two functioning eyes would tell you that this is a man who's not doing too good. The issue in hip-hop specifically is that, first of all, we don't really take addiction seriously. That's number one. Number two, unfortunately, there's too many popular rappers with a lot of influence out here promoting and encouraging addiction in their records all the time. That's quite common. So that's kind of the times that we're in as far as the culture right now. And a lot of the fans are on board with it because they're listening to this music and they're singing along to these records and they don't really see nothing wrong with it, even though we've lost countless of artists to this, man. I haven't seen too many rappers admitting to trying meth though. That's one thing I'll tell you. And this is because in hip hop there are certain drugs that are, deemed as cool, and then there's other drugs that are deemed as not cool. Like cocaine isn't one that too many rappers are open with, but a lot of them be sniffing that cocaine, and that's for sure. Cocaine is more like a rock star thing, but in hip hop we do talk a lot about the liquid heroin, which ain't really any better. I mean, all that shit's bad, but lean ain't any better, man. It literally eats you from the inside out. It literally destroys your organs, if you didn't know. Not only does it slow down a person's heart rate, sometimes to the point where they eventually stop breathing, it's also in high doses, or if you mix it with other substances, deadly. It also causes seizures, particularly in people who are already at risk of having seizures genetically. Some people are just more prone to have seizures. It also causes dental decay. It also leads to hallucinations in some people. That's why if you've seen, like, let's say a rapper during an interview who you might know is someone who, let's say, sips lean, sometimes they be looking around like, they don't know what's going on. It's because they're seeing things that are not there. And then the other one, it actually impairs your vision as well, and so that's another thing. Now, as for meth, well, I'm not going to tell you all the negative things meth does, because all you have to do is just go watch Breaking Bad. Seriously though, meth is absolutely horrible, and I hope Kodak Black isn't on that still. And I also hope that Kodak Black stays out of trouble, because as we all know, Kodak does have a tendency to just somehow end up in prison. It's his second home at this point, right? Come on. Kodak Black got pardoned by the US president just for him to end up back in prison. That's crazy. Like, at some point, you're gonna run out of chances, because unless you are a cat, okay, unless you're out here meowing, i.e. you got 9 lives, well, at some point, all that luck is gonna run out. But anyway, there you have it. Guys, if you enjoy this long form content, you gotta like this video so you can let me know, okay? So I can keep doing this, is what I'm saying. If you enjoy this style of video, you gotta give me an incentive to actually make more of these. So drop a like, drop a comment, because I'm honestly very curious to hear what you have to say about these topics. But anyway, what you think about these topics that we discussed? First, we had Kanye versus Nicki, and then we had the 6ix9ine story, and then we had Lil Baby, This Is Gunna, and then we had Kodak Black talking about, doing meth, right? Curious to hear what you have to say, and yeah, I'll catch you on the next one. I'm out. Peace.